The Industrial Revolution. What is it? Well, industrialization is a process of developing machine production of goods. Revolution is a forceful overthrow of a government or social order, but together, what do they mean? The Industrial Revolution refers to the greatly increased output of machine-made goods that began in England in the middle 1700s. The Industrial Revolution was an evolution in humanity, the break from the grasp of agriculture into a time of technological advancement. The revolution was a sudden increase in production of goods with help of machinery, which sped up production while reducing costs. Preceding the revolution, people lived primarily in the rural area. The revolution was ignited by the accumulation of land in the hands of landowners, who created enclosures and agricultural discoveries.
After buying up the lands of village farmers, wealthy landowners enclosed their lands with fences and hedges. To boost crop yields, these landowners began to experiment with productive seeding and harvesting methods. The seed drills and newer method of crop rotation were some of the more notable outcomes of this experiment.
The revolution quickly improved England's economy. England quickly accumulated wealth from the rapid production of trade, becoming one of the richest countries. Because of the cheap production of once luxurious goods, the quality of life improved as many people, regardless of social class, could afford said goods. The middle class emerged as a result of leaders of the revolution amassing enough power and wealth. The middle class had enough power to domineer over the upper class, comprising of landowners and aristocrats.
As upper class members grew richer, the wealth gap between each class became greater. Because of this growing middle class, tension between the middle and upper class became apparent. With the constant generation of new factories everywhere, which use coal and other fossil fuels to power them, environmental issues such as pollution started to become a serious problem. More and more children started to work in factories. Most of the time, children were used for jobs that adults of bigger size couldn't do, such as reaching into small crevices. This would usually end up with the child losing a limb or even death. In fact, some children were employed at the age of 4. Many saw child labor as a violation of human rights. Later, child labor laws were implemented to protect the children from these dangers.
Not only children were being injured at work, even adults. Likewise, governments set forth labor laws that would protect everyone from dangers at work. During this time, people became more independent and demanded more rights. Women were one of the largest groups that demanded equal rights as men, as well as slaves. Both groups eventually gained equal rights as a free man. England tried to keep these industrialization ideas to themselves, placing strict laws on inventors not to leave the country. Even with these laws in place, some inventors and engineers managed to escape to other countries. Eventually, industrialization began to spread through multiple countries around the world. Like the Enlightenment, philosophers of the industrialization era and government officials came up with new ways to run a country. Ideas of capitalism and socialism arose with the enlarging gap between social classes. The richer wanted to become richer, while the poor wanted more in general. Capitalism is an economic system in which the factors of production are privately owned and the money is invested in business ventures to make a profit. In socialism, however, the factors of production are owned by the public and operated for the welfare of all. Today, many ideas and inventions from the Industrial Revolution are still used today, varying from steam engines to railroads to even smartphones. Even though items such as smartphones were not invented during the start of the Industrial Revolution, ideas such as making life easier to live eventually led to these kind of inventions that connect us with a simple tap of a screen.